Welcome back to Access Houston on 97.9 The Box.
Good Sunday morning. You're listening to Access Houston. I'm your host, KG Smooth. I haven't done this in a while. Well, it's not really, I guess it'll be a round table because we do have three individuals. He is the Joint Communications Director. Welcome him back. Long time. Antonio Arellano.
Hey, what's going on? Good to be on today.
Hey.
Golf
and
clap.
she is the Disaster Recovery and Relief Houston Analyst, my girl, Sam Blair.
That's me. Hey, y'all.
Hey.
She is fill-in here at Magic 102.1, our sister station 92.1 Radio Now, also 97.9 The Box. She does real estate. She's a mom. She sings. What else do you do? She's a comedian. She's done stand-up comedy.
Stop it. Keep talking about me. I love it. Tell me more.
Ladies and
You're so
gentlemen,
silly.
Ayana Mack.
Hey, hello. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Thank
morning.
you for letting me be a part of your round table.
Oh, please, you need to be a part of more things that we got, but we'll talk about that.
I'm excited.
Later on.
I'm excited about the energy that
We
all
have
of
here-
you have
Yeah.
about what's going on in our society
needs
and
to
the
be,
changes that need to be implemented.
talked about.
Right.
And I know sometimes I can go hard on 45 and the things that are going on, but I just got to get it off because I'm concerned about the country. Like, I know Trump does dumb stuff. We
Right.
all know that he does dumb stuff. That's all he's going to do. I mean, I've seen this episode before.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I am concerned about this country.
And what happens
because
after Trump?
And yeah,
Right.
And what is and
What is
what are
left
they
of our
doing
country?
now? Because we were attacked. I mean, when the Mueller Report came out and when he just spoke this past week, the thing that really got me was how he said how they got us. And I mean, they literally hacked into voting machines in Florida. I mean, they started all of this divisiveness between us. How divided that we are right now as a country and as, human beings. It is because of Russia and their intelligence agents who are a branch of the Russian military, which is an attack on this nation.
Absolutely. And
Cap.
I'll take it a step further. It hasn't stopped.
Right.
They haven't been held accountable. And if you for 1 second think that in 2020 Russia is not going to meddle in our elections, you're crazy.
Right.
They're planning, they're plotting, and it's going to
They're
happen.
coming back strong.
Are you
And
shocked?
nothing's
Are you
and
really
nothing is
shocked? Our
happening.
president was never held accountable. The entire 2016 run, he kept saying Hillary in the emails, and it turns out, according
his
to the Mueller
emails.
Report, it wasn't even just his emails. It was his entire relationship. He was in bed with Russia every single night. And he's not been held accountable. So how are we going to say Russia's not held accountable when we don't hold our own accountable?
It's interesting. The Republican Party of President Nixon was the ones who held President Nixon accountable. Those type of Republicans don't exist right now. The Republican Party that does exist right now is more concerned with their political expediency than the actual democracy that America upholds.
And the Reagan Republican Party would not
Would never.
allow
So you're
this
saying you
whole,
expected us to have
rendezvous
integrity.
with Russia even go down.
No, yeah, there definitely is. There's I wonder. Before it was stated that he did not think he was going to be elected. So when he was in bed with Russia, I'm thinking it was all business for him. I'm lining up business deals, and then all of a sudden, I won because
snap,
everybody
I
knows
really won.
he
I won.
was not expecting to win the
Right.
presidency, and so not knowing maybe and I'm just going to try to play devil's advocate here. Maybe he just did not know that what he was doing at the time, when he was trying to line up deals and create these relationships for his own financial gain, how that would affect him should he become president.
Well, no.
Because he wasn't banking on becoming president.
I think he
I'm
was
just-
fully aware of that because let's not forget that he was trying to open a Trump Tower in Moscow until it fell through. I'm pretty sure he was 100% aware of what he was doing.
But that's what
The
I
fact
think that he
rolled
wanted to
through-
do business deals. He did not want to be a president and do business deals. He just wanted to secure real estate deals, but not knowing, okay, now I'm in a different position of power and leadership where my right hand and my left hand cannot work together like that. There's checks and balances, and there are some things now that may be deemed illegal. So I'm wondering, I'm wondering if that is the case. And I will be honest with you, I'm not a political head. I don't have all the details. I'm just someone that's like, okay, well, let me take it from a different point of view.
It does seem like
and people like that are
I
very
hear it.
important, the
Right.
everyday who aren't paying attention or at least you're paying attention,
Watching
through
from the
headlines, but
sidelines.
Yeah, but not really keep it. So yeah, that opinion and that point of view, I believe, is important because everyday Americans that have things going on in their regular lives, work, school, children, aren't paying that much attention to it. So yeah, I do think that it's necessary.
But I do also agree that any other country infringing or meddling in our democracy, our
Yes.
voting process,
Yeah.
should be held accountable to the highest powers. If we're talking about throwing tariffs on China and throwing tariffs
on Mexico,
on Mexico, and we know that
And we haven't
this
done
is something
anything for
that
China.
happened.
We've done everything he's done everything that Russia has wanted him to do.
I just think America, we're better than this. We're smarter than this. We should not allow any other country to come in and play any role.
But I
But
I
that's
think
been
that
their,
who we
there's
that's been
choose
their
as a
game,
leader.
the
There's
whole
a
thing.
bigger plan here, you guys. Russia is now in Venezuela. Russia is still messing with Ukraine.
Oh, yeah, they were
Russia
trying to mess
is
with the
Russia
France
is
election. They're everywhere.
successfully pinning race in America against each other. Russia is a huge enemy of democracy right now, and they are winning. The American policies have not been able to check them the way that we need to, have not held them accountable the way that we need to. And if we do not act now, if we do not match the greatness of this opportunity and say no, democracy in this planet is at stake.
It's done.
This is what I can say about America, and God bless the fact that we only put people in power for 4 years, no more than 8. So it's very uncomfortable right now. But I hope that this discomfort fires up people enough to where it helps us unify and realize what direction we want this country to go in. If you feel uncomfortable, if you feel unsafe right now, then you need to find other people that feel like you and try to find a way, a voice, a pathway to make this place
That's
better.
right. And I also think, people always often say whenever I speak publicly that the topic is very uncomfortable for them. And I think that
change is uncomfortable.
It's time to have uncomfortable conversations. My community, our communities have been uncomfortable for 30, 40, 50 years.
And when you say our communities, we're
Black
talking
and
about
brown
Black,
folks.
Latino, brown people.
Right. So we've been uncomfortable in our homes, right?
Yeah.
We've been uncomfortable going to the grocery store. We've been uncomfortable in those limited educational
400
opportunities
years.
we have. So you're going to be uncomfortable for the next 30 minutes while we talk about these issues, but we need to talk about these issues and these voices need to be heard.
Well, I think and people need to care because at the end of the day, it's going to affect you. It's going to affect your
affect your
family.
children.
It's going to affect your children. It's going to affect your bottom line and how much money you come in.
Oh, not
These
only that.
tariffs on China and Mexico, wait until everything starts jacking up.
It's paid
and
by
you're
us.
like, holy mackerel.
So the other day I was talking to someone who was in the mechanics industry, and I questioned if the tariffs were something that were affecting his bottom line. But he was like, I hear that the industry is doing so well. He's like, right now I should be so busy. My shop should be busy. And the parts people are complaining. I have no cars here. And I'm like, yeah, you don't have any cars here. And usually he's like, there's something happening with the economy. I know everybody's saying that it's really, really great, but we're starting to see little pockets of people being affected.
Yeah, and it's not sustainable in the long term. We can't keep
Yeah.
this in the long term. This is not sustainable.
First of all,
economy.
we were still, as well as it's doing now, thanks Obama.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Everybody thinks that things happen
Overnight.
No, these are years and down the line. So we are still seeing the residual of what President Barack Obama did.
Right.
Now, when this stuff starts to go down, then we can blame the other side.
Talk about Trump. Donald Trump inherited an Obama economy just like he inherited everything else he's gotten in life. And that's exactly why he does not understand the magnitude of his position right now. And we got to make sure that we, and going forward, hold our elected officials accountable and start putting people in positions of power that understand that so much is at stake and that people's lives are at stake, and we can't politicize people's lives.
I had the opportunity to see Barack Obama speak about 3 weeks ago in Dallas. And when I tell you, just listening to his message and how passionate he was about inclusion. So he talked about, someone asked him, to work for Obama, what are you looking for? And he brought up 3 things. He said, of course, show up and come to work. That's the first thing. I just need somebody to work. Second thing is somebody that knows how to work on a team setting. When you're in the White House, you have to understand that there's lots of agendas and just projects that everyone needs to be a part of and work on and work collectively, because when we drop the ball, the whole nation hurts. And then the third thing is morale, having a good heart, having a heart for the people. And then he talked about how if I'm in the room, I don't want to be the smartest person in the room. I need everybody else to be smart. I need for everybody else to bring their different point of views into this situation. Me by myself, I just bring one viewpoint. Everybody else bringing in their viewpoints, now we see 360. And just listening to him talk about inclusion and you know, people need not to look like me because this country is full of people that don't look like me. But we're all Americans and we all need to work together and be together. I'm telling you, that man right there, just
You miss
Amazing.
Let me
Yeah.
tell you.
and speaking of morale and doing the right thing, right now there's a human rights attack on women.
On women.
So nearly a dozen states have put an active ban on abortion in their own ways, however they want to spin it. Either it's 6 weeks or it's until we hear a heartbeat, whatever the case may be. We literally have almost a dozen states that are putting a ban on a human rights issue as advocated by white men in the room. No women who this actually affects, but white men in one room.
So conservative strategists have identified this as the best opportunity for them to roll back history and undo Roe v. Wade, right?
Yeah.
So I think that they see a precedent who's going to support them. They see a Supreme Court that is more conservative than it has been in modern history, and they think that this is the time that they can go ahead and undo that. Unfortunately, women are really, really in jeopardy. And I think that we cannot underestimate the moment of this, the capacity of this. There's going to be women in certain parts of the country who will not have access to the medical health treatments that they need. This is about life and death. You guys.
I remember, back in the 50s and 60s, you would hear about the back alley abortions and women bleeding to death and things of that nature. And that's definitely not where we need to go.
Right. Texas leads the nation right now on maternal mortalities. More people are dying giving birth in Texas.
African American
Black
women
are dying at a higher rate in
The
Texas
highest rate.
hospitals.
And we have
What is
access
that
to
about?
Well,
African American women are dying during childbirth at alarmingly high rates
A
in
big
America.
part of that is that doctors don't take out all of the stops when it's black women. Another part of that is the fact that there's this fallacy that black women have to be the strongest. So when black women complain that they're having these issues, nobody wants to listen and hear what's going on. We know our bodies better than anybody else knows our bodies, but we continue to live in the United States that says these men are going to know your body better than you. We're going to continue to legislate against you. Even though I don't have a woman's body, even though I don't know what it's like to bear and carry a child, I'm going to be the person that tells you when, where, and how to make one.
Jolt, we understand that women are the future of this country. And we think that in order for us to really bring about the change that our community needs, we're going to have to start putting women in positions of power. We're going to have to start putting women in positions of power all the way up to the presidency.
Yes.
And that means we have got to start listening to women, believing women, and letting them lead us to the future, letting their voices be the next generation of leadership in this country.
So I am pro-life. But I'm also someone who will not inflict my point of view on you. I don't know what you went through. I don't know what is happening with you. I don't know. And so I understand that my beliefs may be different than yours, and there may be a story behind why you feel that this is the best option for you. And me personally, because of my religious beliefs, I would like to see the child being born. And I would like to see us, if we're going to be pro-life, let's not be pro-birth of a baby. Let's be pro-life for real. Let's be pro-life as in providing a sustainable living situation for this child. Let's be pro-life as in giving these mothers and these parents the tools that they need to be able to provide for their children long term.
With them, like,
let's
okay, you care about this
be
fetus
pro-life
more than
like
once
that.
the child gets here. It's like, oh well, you're on your own, like, because everything else when it comes to healthcare or making sure that there's a good education, all of that. So the hypocrisy of it all is just really beyond me. I saw a video that's going around on IGTV of the great Jane Elliott talking about what the real reason is why there's this attack on women and all of these states, them trying to ban abortion and, overturn Roe v. Wade. It's because, the abortion rate amongst white women are the highest. It's 60%. And so she was saying, and I just saw this one time, and you can look it up or Google it or whatnot. Some Jewish man back in the day wrote about how the white race would be erased, because of, mixing it up. And if something isn't done about it, this great country that is ran by the great white man will be no more.
We were just talking about that earlier.
This is the real reason for the bottom line,
Let me tell you,
it never belonged to white people.
They're afraid of diversity. They're afraid of diversity.
So I hate to be the one.
There are some, but just tying on more to why I am pro-life is because I'm also pro-family. I think that the family unit is very important. I think that the Black family unit is very important. I think the Latino family unit is very important. So if we could work on creating a situation that helps the Black and Latino family unit thrive, then I think a lot of those situations wouldn't be something that you would entertain. And now there are some medical reasons why you may want to,
circumstantial situations.
Whatever.
I just believe that a woman has the right to do whatever she wants.
And I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. I can't tell you
what to do.
It's so stupid in Alabama. Like an 11-year-old can get raped and carry that whole entire child to term, but she can't watch, two gay cartoon characters get married on TV. Like, it's so stupid.
Right.
Yeah,
it make sense.
And let me push back real quick, because a lot of times our conservative friends say, I'm pro-life, I'm pro-family, and they're pro-life and pro-children and pro-family until it comes to undocumented immigrants and children dying at the border. There's families being separated, and were you pro-life? Why are you not up in arms about the families being separated? You're pro-children. Why are you not talking about the 6 dead children that we have in custody of Border Patrol? You know what I'm saying?
That's a very important.
We have, like, if all these conservative people that think, I'm pro-life, I'm pro-family, but when it comes down to it, we have a human rights crisis at our border. Families are being separated. Children are dying. We need to mobilize around that issue.
Oh, Antonio, we have concentration camps at our border. I think we talked about this a little bit earlier today, but we have actual camps in El Paso that are meant to house 135 people that have 700 people, 700 immigrants standing in the facilities that cannot even breathe fresh air, that don't have any use of the toilet because they're standing on top of each other just to breathe. This is happening right now.
Right now.
In El Paso.
In our border right here. This is our fight,
in America.
Texas. This is Texas.
This is America.
Yeah, like this moment is absolutely incredible. This moment in history is absolutely incredible and will always be remembered if America does not act. I think that what we're really witnessing right now is the fight for the future of this country and what we really stand for. America needs to live up to its promise and be that nation that it promised everyone that it would be. And when we have, like you mentioned, children in cages, families living in overcrowded spaces, children dying of the malnourishment and lack of resources in these detention centers, it's absolutely ridiculous.
So let me ask you this, all right? How do we help? We throw these big problems out on the radio and we talk about we need to do something. Let's put some steps out that people that someone listening right now, something that they can do to help eradicate, save, create
Not
change.
even just that. You don't have to be an elected official to write a bill. We need a sustainable path to citizenship. That's what we need. We need people, we need thinkers, we need everyone getting together thinking about how can we create this path to citizenship that doesn't lead to people dying. We have the crisis of literal dead bodies on our hands. That's the most important thing. How are we going to advocate for these people? How are we going to deal for these people? Because they're stuck in prisons. They can't speak for themselves.
Let me tell you, if you want to win the future of this country, you've got to start investing in communities of color. In order for us to bring about the change, the major political parties in this nation have to realize that soon, if they want to be sustainable, they're going to have to start investing in brown and black folks. And they're going to start bringing the resources to our communities. And that starts with like citizens, the census, right?
Yeah,
the census
the
is
census
so crucial to this development.
It is.
The next census is going to really lay down the foundation for the growth of this country. And it's imperative that we all get counted.
So I remember at one point the census, they were talking about including the question about citizenship. Did the Supreme Court?
So they rule on that at the end of this month. At the end of at the end of June, they're going to rule on this.
Okay.
That's the decision that they're going to make.
So let's break down the importance of that question right there and how it affects communities, because there's a lot that goes behind that question, but then there's also nothing that goes behind that question at the same time.
Right. So this past week, the New York Times put out an amazing editorial in which they addressed the fact that a Republican strategist was the one that pitched the citizenship question to the administration, to the Trump administration, saying if you start asking people for citizenship, then you will have a better way to draw the maps and gerrymander your districts so that you can maintain yourself in power. It's all about remaining control.
So what
It's all about
happens
remaining
is
in control.
people will become afraid to march if they're citizens, which will the bodies don't count. The money doesn't go there. You're invisible. So
and
now,
actually, Antonio, I think Jolt is working on an initiative for that.
We're investing $2.5 million in Texas to make sure that we are canvassing in major Latino populous communities and making sure that we educate our community on why we need to fill out the census and then how we go about that process. Because our community, A, are uneducated to the process. Why do we need to do this? How do I do this? And then B, reminding our community that, listen, the reason that you're under attack is because you're powerful. You're the biggest threat to those in power. Birds pick at the best fruit, and Latinos and people of color are the biggest and most powerful voting bloc right now.
There are definitely a lot of brown people here, but the beautiful thing about Black and Latino people is we're good-hearted people. We're not a vindictive group of people.
Yeah. In our culture.
Even after all that we've experienced, we just want what's rightfully ours, and we also want what people that don't look like us want. You want to be able to provide a better future for yourself and for your offspring. And so I think as Americans, just as if we just can learn how to play on the playground together. I use the Olympics as the best example. When are we at the top of our game, kicking butt, taking names? At the Olympics. Exactly. When you see Russia walks in and everybody looks like they're from Russia, and China walks in and everybody looks like they're from China, and there's nothing wrong with that. God bless those people. They're beautiful people. But then America walks in and we have Chinese and we have Black and we have white and we have Latino, we have Samoan and we have African, and everybody's there and we are dominating. We are at our best when we work together.
Yep. And that is our time.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Talk about the quinceañeras.
Listen, guys, you already know how I was before this mic even came on. So just imagine when we were recording. So, hey, thank you all. Sam, Blair, we'll do this again.
Yes.
It's only June.
We will.
It's only June. So Sam, Antonio, Ayana, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys having us on. You'll come back, yes?
Yes. Remember, you can be the change that you want to see in the world, and together we are better.
We ended on that. And thank you for listening to Access Houston.